So, hello everyone, it's me, Snarky McAllister, aka Linda Paris, and this is my first show that's going to air on YouTube. Now, here's my channel on Rumble, and I also have another channel on BitChute with 60,000 followers. Why? Because I was excommunicated from YouTube for telling the truth. But if the people on YouTube want to see some of my past episodes, you can go to the links of BitChute and Rumble that will be in the description. I didn't say that right. What I meant to say was, if you want to see my other work, if you are on YouTube, you can check it out at McAllister TV on Rumble and McAllister TV on BitChute, and the links will be in the description. I was bitten by a spider 3 weeks ago, and I'm telling you, it knocked me on my butt. It was either a brown recluse or a black widow spider, and I got it by cleaning out my shed. So I've been really out of commission. You can see here where I did a little like a personal message to everyone about the snake bite, but snake bite. I meant to say spider bite. So, but I'm back in the swing of things, and let's get on with the show, okay? Donatella Versace called, and she wants you to know that she's 100% human. So don't even worry about it, okay? Hillary called. She wants to run again. Feel free to screen capture these, by the way. You can just hit Command-Shift-3 and capture the screen, or you can hit Command-Shift-4 and you can put a boundary around it. And then you can repost stuff like this. Go back. You have to go back. You didn't come in here legally. You have to go back and come back in legally. That's the way it works. That's the way it should work. And the Democrats seem to have a hard time with this. He built a wall, for God's sakes. As soon as he said he was going to build a wall, I was walking away from the TV. They came down the stairs. He goes, "I'm going to build a wall." And I was like, spun around like a ballerina and quickly walked back to the TV. And I'm like, a wall? A wall? That's what I always wanted, was a wall. I was wondering what I wanted to remedy this situation. And he came down and said he was going to build a wall. Okay. All right. He's human too. I think this is Donatella Versace's new boyfriend or something. They make a good couple, wouldn't they? You noticed the lizard mouth. You notice that? And it looks like his tongue. Look at this face. Looks like his tongue is about ready to come out. It really looks like a lizard, doesn't it? It freaks me out. He freaks me out. This judge is far exceeding his jurisdiction. It's because he doesn't have that kind of logic. He can't see what everybody else sees. He just thinks it's normal fare. You know, he thinks everybody should just accept it because that's what he's always done as a lizard. I fun, but I really think these things are lizards at the same time. Do you notice something? Do you notice that this is just a full-on lizard face right here? The cloak is, the veil is lifting. I feel that. I feel the veil is lifting. And here we have lizard number 2. Look, do you suppose they're related? If ever a lizard there was, there was. And also, let's check this out that I have. Okay, look at this. This guy is just full of lizard face. But this one in particular, you notice how he never opens his mouth. He always has it squeezed shut. when he gets his pictures taken. That's because this is even a good picture right here of his teeth. He has the weirdest teeth, most lizardy teeth. Anyway, I'm always on top of these things for you guys. I want you guys to be secure. Here's another reason why I think the veil is lifted. These people are like the crypt keeper in like a year. They turned into the crypt keeper. They look halfway stuck together. Since 2016, I've been on the lookout. And look, there's no way these things, I think when they say that you can't tell them from human, they're not talking about how ugly they are and how much they look like lizards. They're talking about hair, they have nails, they have the same materials like you would think it was just an ugly hag. But no. And they don't have they don't have the food they need. And we all know what that means. Look at them when they don't get their food. And their teeth, it seems like their teeth shape shift around there. Is it my imagination? There's the side view. It can't help it. It just goes that way. Like there's something inside of it. Well, just look at Rothschild's skull. And there are other groups of, quote, people or beings on this planet who don't have skulls like us. And when they talk about the RH factor and all that, it's a lot more than that. It's a lot more than that. So there's a whole bloodline thing going on here. And we're not privy to the knowledge. We just think it's blood. No, no. So, Q Mega Meme folder, state of emergency, our border is under attack. This is from 2019 or something. How to resolve. Number 1, pass bipartisan legislation, which they've been doing. Force POTUS to take extreme presidential actions. That's what I think is about to happen. I've been following this whole how are they going to unfold this information? And it's coming out in YouTube videos, oddly enough. And now the people that are left, Joe Scarborough, who reminds me of Gumby. Have you ever seen Gumby with the face just in the middle? It's weird. By the way, Joe Scarborough had a dead woman, a dead intern in his office, Psycho Joe. And he was MIA for like 2 days. He was supposed to go to a meeting that day, but when they went to go get him, there was a dead woman in there. And nobody could find Joe for like 2 days. But finally, it all got straightened out because a coroner from out of state or a medical examiner from out of state came into Florida, left his home, and I forgot where it was. I've got all the articles. I've got the receipts for this. Came in and flew in. And left his home where he had later was arrested for having human body parts in his garage. And he was stripped of his title of medical examiner. But that didn't stop Joe from paying him money to come into Florida and rule the whole thing an accident. It's a really interesting story. You should check it out, Psycho Joe. That's why I don't take anything he says seriously. Now, this is so cute. Here's one of the Hillarys, one of the earlier Hillarys, teaching children how to delete emails. Isn't that sweet? And then after that, they drag them out to Epstein Island and turn them into human sacrifices. Then they eat them at table 1, table 2, table 3, etc., so forth and so on. Oh, look, the panda there with the 2 black eyes. They love that one. Now this, I just got this. I went into one of my oldest drives from the very beginning. It's even got some of my old stuff on it that doesn't have anything to do with 2016. It was one of the first drives I was storing things on from our favorite Anon. This says Bush Funeral Hillary Letter 4. Okay. So I said at the time, it has to be a picture of something. When people are reading, it takes time. And their eyes go from left to right. Well, unless they're lizards. I don't know how the lizard eye works. So that we have to consider that. But even the lizards, I think, in human bodies have to go left to right. None of them did that. They just saw it and reacted. There was no time for reading. So picture's worth 1,000 words, okay? And it'll punch you in the face, and you'll never be able to unsee it. So you can use your imagination as to how many situations that happens with. Now, they've made it funny. This is, in itself is a meme, and they're showing that to us. Do I literally think it's him getting his head chopped off? Well, I don't know. It could be that if he was sent to Saudi Arabia or someplace to face justice. So I don't really know. I'm not leaving that out of the question. But I really believe that this could be it. He was executed, and they passed the picture around in that. Because I truly believe that they thought they had him sequestered somewhere. It's not just George Bush, like if you listen to Tory Smith, who was a victim, was coming out with all of these videos, and you could see where they were hitting him with energy weapons and everything until he finally died. But he talked about how each one of them, Cheney, Mike Pence, Bush, both Bushes, and the wife thing. If that's not a lizard face, I don't know what is. Anyway, how they have multiple, and Fritz Springmeier talks about this. When Fritz Springmeier, who is a deprogrammer, talks about MKUltra and how and this is only for the elite kids, they go right into it. In a way, you have to feel sorry for them because they don't really have any choice. Since they're little kids, they're ritualized, and their brains are literally broken into compartments to allow these other beings to come in and occupy the vessel. And that's what I believe they eventually do to people who want to make more and more money. You reach a point where you have to get cloned and sign over your vessel, and you also have to be programmed so that other entities can come in because you're an influencer. If you're an actress or a politician or whatever, if you scientist, whatever, you help build the matrix in a big way. So they can't just, they don't want you unless you can offer them a lot. So I kind of think that's what that was. I'm beginning to think that's what they saw. But it didn't stop them, did it? These memes are so clever. Spying on president. Number 1, treason. Spying on POTUS is treason. Well, there was actually emails revealing an assassination plot between Paul Ryan and Pence. So they were communicating, and those emails were distributed, and I got copies of them somewhere. I don't have them right now, but I have them, where they are talking about assassinating Trump. And so I guess they thought they'd been given a Christmas gift when he chose Mike Pence as his vice president. But who's spying on who? I asked that question. Who's spying on who? And then, of course, always the clown with the lizard smile. He got the little lizard thing going on, too. So, Monkey Pilot says, y'all know VPMP was administratively relieved of his official duties July 4th, 2019, right? You like the new improved mic? Meet Sam 239, tanned, primed, and ready for the rally circuit. Not your country's same old cabal deep state insurance policy. Thumbs up. So you can clearly see a difference. This one doesn't look so good. This one looks all kind of shiny and everything. And if we look hard, I'm sure we'll see other things. But see, they have to have... This one needed blood. I don't know if this one does. They need the blood to keep the clones from deteriorating. They only last so long. Stephen Miller says hi. I love this picture. And this guy is like phenomenal. the whole time, see, I like that Vance does this, and Stephen Miller even does this even more, I think. Well, both of them are tigers. But as the reporter is asking the question, he's calibrating his answers, because it's an opportunity for him to go ahead and say what they've done. You know, if they try to corner him, he doesn't even fall for it. He just starts talking about all the things that have been done. So whatever their question is, it's always going to blow back in their face, number one. Number two, he calibrates his responses to where at the end, if he loses his temper, which he, depending on the reporter and what's happening, he could blow. And when he blows, he comes out, he just hammers them with intellectual hammers, blows to the head and the face, like they have no response, because he just pummels them with how ignorant they are about this whole situation. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you coddle these human traffickers? Well, look at them. Look at these people. I showed you Martha Radich, or whatever her name is. Yeah, look at them. Just look at them. They need their stuff. They want the human traffickers in. They're trying to get their stuff. They've been cut off. And so Maryland man, I think he was an important cog in that, because they all rallied, no, we need him. No, don't take him. They don't seem to mind any of the others, but when they went to Maryland man, who was caught trafficking people to Maryland. So, that congressman or senator or whatever he was needs to be thoroughly investigated and lizard tested. Love this. I love this. Oh, this. Do not do anything. Mark Cuban's recommended LLC service starts as, well, I can't do that. I'm too stupid. I'm a Trump supporter. How I'm a female Trump supporter, so I couldn't possibly figure out how to have a LLC service. And you're so much smarter than me and everything. I'll just keep my hands off of this, asshole. Don't do this. Don't fall for this. Look at this monkey, this ape. Man, these people. Is it Machiavelli or Machiavelli? I never did know how to pronounce that. ICE Director Thomas Homan revealed Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, is a division of ICE. HSI investigates crimes against children, pedos, human trafficking, and drug trafficking. That's why they want to shut down ICE, to cover up their crimes. And this is from like 2017 or something. This was years ago, before even the 2020 election, which, by the way, Trump won. And I've got the receipts for that, too. Look at this. God. Look at this guy. It's just the most lizard thing I've ever seen. It explains everything, doesn't it? He won't stop. He doesn't know how to stop. They're going to have a, quote, shutdown. I think we're looking really closely at this, like next week or the week after, before the end of May, is what my feeling about it is. But it's not just my feeling, it's me reading and listening to these videos and looking at the news. I mean, all we have to do is go through the news stories, which we're not going to do, but which we just did, actually. And you can see the whole thing is exploding all around, everywhere. Remember this guy? On television. I mean, this is the kind of thing that they fearlessly cheat and lie. And all of the good Democrats, for at least some period of time, don't want to see it. But it's amazing how many people have seen it. And my hats go off to you. All of them. All of my hats. I got to get rid of some of my hats. No, my hat goes off to all you people, all you walkaways. I love watching your videos. And even just the silent people who just kept their mouths shut and went and voted for Trump and maybe might not even like him. But I think we're about to this thing is about to turn around in a big way. So these guys are on TV admitting that they cheated. Oh, we came in from different parts of the country and all of us pitched into a vote and we won. No, that's not the way it works here. This guy's probably illegal. We came in from different parts of the country, so they were voting in multiple states. They just went running around voting all over the United States twice, 3 times, 4 times. We came in from different parts of the country and all of us pitched in to vote and then when we won. No, you didn't win, you cheated. And now you're telling everyone. So there's that. And then this guy, I don't know if James O'Keefe caught him on video or what, but he was caught on like a cell phone or something saying, it's a very easy thing for Republicans to say, well, they're bussing people in. We have been bussing people in to deal with yoofing assholes for 50 years, and we're not going to stop now. We're just going to find a different way to do it. And that's Scott Fovell, Deputy Political Director, People for the American Way. See how they wrap themselves up in good things while they're doing pure, well, I would say evil, but it even goes beyond that. They're animals. They're really animals. And remember about Democrats, and he's right about this. They've been doing this since the Civil War. The Democrats fought to keep their slaves. The Republicans fought to free the slaves. Abe Lincoln freed the slaves. He was a Republican. And I have newspaper articles showing that people at that time, Republicans, wanted to help people get the right to vote. They wanted to give black people jobs. They wanted to give them dignity and all of these other attributes. And Democrats came and they shot people, killed them, beat them up. Any Republican that got elected that tried to give blacks any rights was physically, his family was threatened. I mean, this is KKK stuff right here. By the way, the KKK wanted to get into politics, so they started the Democrat Party. Why? Because our country is a republic. It's not a democracy, okay? So they had to start the Democratic Party. And you see where it's taken us now. Democrat thugs, Democrats, they take the cake. In other words, let them eat cake? No, the Democrats take the cake too. There is no cake. God. And here he is bragging about it. If you don't believe me, ask him. Another mega meme, mail fraud took me down. Of course, that's Al Capone. Big Al. Mail fraud took me down. Voter fraud will take the DNC down. Well, look what I found. To fight the fraud, December 21st, 1893. Swift, who is a guy, will contest the election returns in Chicago. Democratic manipulation. This is a regular story in these old papers. It's nothing new. Chief Brennan attempts to bulldoze election judges. Bold frauds are exposed. Well, they don't care. That's why they're on TV bragging about it. It says right here, Chicago. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Republican Executive Committee announced, let me make this bigger because my eyes don't work the way they used to. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Republican Executive Committee announced that evidence of Democratic frauds had been secured, which when presented to the election commissions would ensure the throwing out of the vote in a large number of precincts and make the election of Mr. Swift a certainty. This evidence has been carefully collected and is declared to be absolutely unassailable. It is claimed that a fair count of the vote will show the election of Mr. Swift on the face of the returns. A wager to this effect of $200 to $500 was made at Republican headquarters this afternoon. Mayor Swift will retain control of the municipal government of Chicago until the courts have passed upon the legality of the election returns. On the face of the police returns, Hopkins is elected by a majority of 1,214. So they pulled exactly what they don't come up with new ideas. So it was like just at the last minute, and it all flipped around. So, and they had positive proof of Democratic manipulation. 1893. There's more, but I'm not going to read them all. That's not what this is about. So I know what you're all thinking. You're not going to skip over that babies for fuel story, are you? Yeah, this is December 21st, 1893, same newspaper. This is Babies for Fuel. Physicians dissect infants and burn the fragments. Well, I don't know if I'd call these people physicians, but Chicago. Now, I want to stop here because in a lot of my research in these old newspapers, Chicago is a very satanic city, and it also has an underground. Of course, they all do. It says Chicago, December 20. This is a special story. A story of horror comes from the lower end of Rush Street. There, where poverty reigns and countless families huddle together and rear their offspring in misery, two physicians hold forth, one who goes about like a butcher in his work, and the other who takes the dead bodies left in the wake of the other to his miserable little office, dissects them, and throws the decaying flesh into the stove. It is another case of Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, only this is reality. It is sickening in details and is startling, sensational, and horrible. A complete confession was made by Dr. Robinson to a reporter, and in his own words is retold. Before making a clean breast of his atrocities, he went to a corner of his narrow, close little office and picked up in a careless way a package done up in a faded newspaper. The odor of the room was stifling, and a roaring fire burning in a large stove made the room more uncomfortable. The physician ran his thin, nervous fingers through his short black beard, passed his hand over his bald head, and then, in an easy, unconcerned way, unrolled the package as it lay on the floor. He kept talking while engaged and was as cool and collected as though at a meal, as he disclosed a dead infant, discolored by mortification and hideous in its bruised, cut, and torn condition. He said it was a common practice for him to take dead infants from poor parents for dissecting purposes. You see, said he, burials cost money, and poor people have not the same holy regard for dead infants that people in other stations of life have. And, considering all these things, I took the body. Intending to cut it into pieces in your office? Asked the police. Yes. You see, I do it for science. And then I did not tell the father, and so it was all right. All right, you say? Certainly. Many do the same thing. And then science can be benefited. Have you ever done anything of the kind before? Oh, yes. Carelessly. I take the body, dissect it, and throw the pieces in the stove. Health Commissioner Reynolds said the case will be attended to at once and a stop put to the barbarian's practice. A health commissioner, I guess, was questioning these two, quote, doctors. I would want to see certificates on that. And plus, this is the kind of thing, this is what they do, you know? So we really don't know. I know that I found a lot of newspaper articles about blood drinking in the early 1900s, and people would go in New York down to the meat district, and they would have the cows in there, and they would pay to, as they slaughtered and cut the head off the cows, drink it right from the neck. You know, they'd open up their mouths and drink the blood right from the neck of the cow. So blood drinking has been around for a long time, and they say they do it for youth and beauty. So, you know what I'm saying? This is nothing new. It's just been hidden, suppressed. They don't talk about it. But in early newspapers, they talked about it a lot. Anyway, this is just another case of necrophiles and butchering babies. And are we sure the babies were dead before they got a hold of them? There's so many questions here, but, very little answers other than the fact that Chicago. Seamus Brunner, breaking. Is there a date on this? I don't know, but these are all old. These are all from 2020, I think. Breaking. Michigan staffing agency linked to corrupt Democrat machine got multi-million-dollar contract to hire 2,000 operatives to funnel tens of thousands of ballots through Dominion machines, which are owned by Soros. Graveyard shift got paid extra. Detroit hired poll workers from firm owned by key figure in jailed something, executive, I guess. Cheating. Yeah, a lot of stations would not let Republicans in to vote. I'm not sure when this was done, but probably 2020. They were cheating in 2016 as well. There they are. Yeah, they're throwing away Trump votes. They're throwing them away. Yeah, they're just doing it. They're throwing massive quantities of votes away. Karen. So I could go on all night with the voter fraud. I got lots more. I'm just going to keep it coming. And yeah, because we won. Trump won in 2020. We all watched it happen. And literally most of us could be called as witnesses to watching this stuff in real time as people were capturing it on their cell phones. I have a lot more of it, and I'll keep that as a regular segment on McAllister TV. I like this lady, Queen Bee Reacts. Anyway, she put Letitia's head on that, Letitia James, on this, like, ghetto, like, you know, hands on the hip, you know, like attitude statue that they made. They've got two famous people and then this. And so she just, I don't know whether she did this or what. Oh, and this is about the girl that, or woman or whatever, he, she, him, whatever, that spit on U.S. official Ed Martin. So they're losing their minds. And I want to just talk about a few things that I have on my list. The statue of her. So Letitia James going to jail. Look, here's the way it works. And I wrote this down. Letitia James is suing POTUS. Has she ever heard, ever heard of, quote, discovery? Because when she knows, he knows. But here's the thing. They're so corrupt, they've never had to really worry too much about that. Well, it's a different ball game now. What's going to happen is she's suing the president. Well, the president and his attorney have a right to dig up things on her now. They've opened the door to all of her crimes. And now it's a full-on investigation. It's all going to come out. And that's what's happening. Why? And it's going to be shown in front of people. And I guarantee that this mortgage fraud is nothing compared to what this thing has done. Another moose. We had one in the White House along with her pet lizard. And so him, she, her, whatever. And yeah, they went on billion-dollar vacations. They had multiple homes. And now she's belly aching about her stint in the White House like it was so miserable. Shove it up your nose, moose. It's coming out. And it's a house of cards. It's just going to come crashing down on her. So every time she instigates a new anything, that gives them the right to dig into her past. And they already have everything. We already know that. Quote, we have everything. So all this stuff about FBI destroying files, they have everything. That's why we were told that, so that we wouldn't be worried about it. They have everything. They can pretend like they got rid of it if they want to, but they pretended like Hillary won the election in 2016, and they pretended like we were going to vote for that alcoholic bag of nothing. Nothing. There was nothing even remotely close to being policy coming out of its mouth. just party jokes and slurred speech. God, I don't see how anybody could vote for that. It almost feels like people wanted our country to come down. So the other thing I want to say about Letitia James, besides it's a house of cards ready to come down on her head, and the mortgage fraud is the least. We're talking islands, we're talking Epstein Island, wherever she goes. It's not just Epstein Island, it's not just Diddy's, it's not just Oprah's house. All these old movie stars had underground tunnels to each other's homes. They had to. It was part of their career. You know, it's like you have to have the boss over for dinner, no pun intended, but they have to do those things. So they were all connected back then. And don't forget about the lizard people that lived underneath Los Angeles, and I believe that. There's a whole tunnel system under just about every large city. Chicago has an underground. Atlanta has an underground. New York has an underground, and I think there's a whole city under there. I don't think Columbus discovered America. I think something else happened. But that's not the point. The president did it. He really did it. He said, no men will be allowed in women's prisons, and no women will be allowed in men's prisons. You know what that's going to do, don't you? Half of these people that are masquerading as females are going to end up in male prisons, and I wouldn't be surprised if this moose wasn't one of them. Look at the size of that thing, and really look at the features. And where did the money go? You know, I mean, that's going to be a big question, because I think this thing stole billions. And the reason she's dumb enough to sue Trump and think that they're not going to be able to pull anything out on discovery and use it against her is because she's never had to deal with that. Whatever. The moose. Another moose. God. There's a purple-haired moose up there, too, somewhere in, New Hampshire or something? Looks just like a bag lady. Where do these people come from? That'll be interesting to find out. Canada, oh, Canada. It turns out most Canadians, or a lot of Canadians, want to be the 51st state. But what the president is saying, I believe, is that, and he said it over and over again in so many ways, Canada already has, right now, Canada has all of the benefits of being the 51st state. We protect them. They have all kinds of benefits. They don't spend anything on all these things because the same benefits that we have, we extend to Canada. So that's what he's saying. They might as well be the 51st state. And if they're not going to be the 51st state, then we're not going to pay for any of this shit. We're not going to protect you like you are a 51st state. So I think what is going to happen is Alberta is already wanting to secede, that a lot of these places are just going to secede to America because they won't get protection anymore. They're not a 51st state. They're getting everything that the rest of us are getting. So why should we support them when we need that money? So if they want to be a 51st state and receive all these benefits that we are now extending to them, just like everybody else, they're ripping us off. So that's what I think he means by that, is that, right now, you're sucking up all of our benefits that we give to each one of our states, and we're not going to do it anymore because you're either going to be made the 51st state, which will benefit all of us. He's got this all figured out, and he knows the history. And they know, too. They know what's coming up. But it's the elite ones that don't want to be the 51st state, and the brainwashed. There's a lot of brainwashed people in Canada. So the other thing I have here is Woke Pope. So this is him, and he's already posting woke bullshit on Twitter. So what's going on here? He's for open borders. He was talking about the Maryland man. This is according to Benny on YouTube, and he's reliable. And so, he was on Twitter showing the Pope, the new Pope's woke tweets, I guess. I call it Twitter. It's X now. I don't know what you call it when somebody, look, it kind of got a lizard face going on. Yeah, let's check this out. Whoa. I'm scared. Look at this. It's like a sea of blood. So there's a lot of things going on right now. Now, this is called The People's Choice, and it's on Rumble. And this guy really exposes a lot. But I want to go over some of these stories, but then I want to do some sound bites from some of these other videos that are from light workers that are getting downloads and things like that. The interesting thing about the downloads is whether it's Ashtar or whether it's the light workers or no matter what it is, they're all kind of talking to the same entities that are trying to talk to us, which I think is very interesting. These are completely separate channels, but they have different channelers as well, but they all seem to be speaking to the same beings. And this information is, I believe, this is what is happening. I think I just said that in this whole video. But first I want to show you what we're talking about. So this guy has the most, I think, dead-on stories. Here's one. It is FBI sees Diddy tape featuring Blake Lively murdering our autistic child at freak-off party. So there are a lot of stories like that happening now. Here's another one. Steven Spielberg, Dead Kids Are Cool, from Michelle Obama, who we know is Big Mike. And if you go back to the People's Choice, it says ex-CNN producer releases video proof that Michelle is a guy. Of course, we all know that. You can see it. As soon as I saw this Michelle Obama, I was like, what? Something's off about this. And of course, as time went on, then I figured out what it was. So the reason I'm showing you this is because I'm going to show you a clip from this video, which is the light workers. And they introduce who they are. There's various names that keep coming up across channels. So these beings are speaking to multiple people, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And what they say is just opens the door to answering all my questions. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a series of sound bites for you to consider. And I'm going to put the links to these channels in the description because they are amazing downloads, because as you're listening to them, it all starts to come into focus. See if you don't find the same thing. And then after that, I'll be signing off. So check it out.
You are still falling for the same old stories of manufactured distractions by the dark, while behind the scenes, they are preparing for something larger to unleash on humanity. You have seen the recent news about Hollywood personalities deleting their posts, and soon even their accounts, after what has been unfolding with a few and their arrests. Understand that all these celebs have many clones of themselves, with the real ones most likely dead. This applies to many of the political figures as well. What you see on the media is just a game for your attention. Look here, not there, as they prepare to carry out false flags, pass unjust laws, and push for a system collapse like the world has never seen. The ones who are actually in charge of the dark agenda, you do not see on any media, as they only give orders from their secret bases. The fall of Hollywood itself is a form of entertainment, and if you are focused on that, you remain deceived. Justice, how many people hope to see it, is not going to take place. As we stated, those individuals involved in the crimes are gone. What you see now is a game of clones being pushed around for more distraction, as the real players continue with their agendas. Are you feeling fatigued, dizzy, confusion, and almost like you are no longer attached to the 3D space you find yourself in? This is normal and part of the process as you integrate the higher light, shifting in and out of the different frequencies. It is important to minimize your time from the 3D distractions. Focus only on yourself and love. Be certain to spend time outside and take in plenty of purified or water. For the next few days, the energies are amplified for a much deeper clearing and releasing of the old. Approaching the Lion's Gate portal of August 8th, the stars are aligned to provide Earth and humanity with raising the vibrations and moving into the next sub-level of 4D and further accelerate the awakening. Light, love, peace, and joy are your essence and natural state of being. Surrender to the divine within and allow the soul to carry you to the new frequencies of light. Holding on to beliefs is most key. When an earlier belief becomes recognized, it seems most difficult to relinquish that belief. But what the one does not know is that often accepted beliefs are not fully actual or factual. And so, when there is a faulty belief held by the one, it does cause less to be. Often beliefs are remembered from another time, but it does limit all that follows it. And the one who holds on to the belief, despite differing information that might be more aligned with what is, well, it is often not accepted. Do you recognize how beliefs shape your world? Do you realize the limitations they impose? If you believe this or that, then how can you believe something that isn't in alignment with these other considerations? Have you ever wondered when or how a belief originated or was formulated? If it is a mental belief originating from you or another, is there any value to it? Might you realize that the mind loves to fill in the blanks? But those beliefs conjectured by the mind are flawed, for the mind does not understand spirituality. This is why the mind provides faulty insights in this way. Connect from your heart space, ask, and then ask again. Is it time to discover more? Is it time to release your beliefs? Our focus and attention is key. If we pay attention as we collectively progress through the powerful shifts of consciousness that we are all experiencing during this unparalleled time, we will be able to tangibly see evidence of just how powerful our thoughts, feelings, words, and actions are. We will also witness in more obvious ways than ever before the influence these expressions using our life force play in every facet of our lives.
Today, I am going to talk about money and on why you have a financial system in your reality. A long time ago, humans were exchanging goods between each other freely without any attachments or restrictions. This easy system didn't satisfy the darkness because it could not control humanity. It came up with a monetary system in order to oppress every human. You can't have money unless you earned it by providing some kind of service or worked for someone. The only reason for the existence of money was created to enslave and control everyone and everything in the world. The darkness didn't have any intention to make anyone happy, only to dictate on what you can do with attached restrictions. Selected individuals receive endless amount of funds. Then they follow the orders from darkness. These people appear from nowhere, and what you see that they have unending amount of money and power. Also, they pretend to be the good guys who care for humans. That is an absolute lie and a false pretense. Their missions are usually to fool and distract mankind from moving forward and evolve into higher vibrations. They never care for anyone and follow only the orders from evil. Meantime, they try to fulfill their tasks by keep destroying the environment around you without letting you know about it, and kill as many as they can humans with experimental drugs, tests, and etc. Their main goal is to continue to accumulate wealth by stealing it from the human population. You were born into these bodies and are supposed to have everything you need for free and not to pay for anything. Instead, you earn a right to live only by working most of your life for pennies in a comparison to the chosen ones by the darkness. Their financial system is going to collapse because it's based on greed and suffering, despite all of the attempts from the negative ones to save it. Your life should not be based on paying for every single thing. That is a superficial system that doesn't exist in higher dimensions. Only low vibrations allow such a nonsensical commodity to function. We have been saying about no money in 5D. You can see for yourself on how much damage this financial system has done to the human civilization on all levels, such as physical, emotional, physiological, and etc. It created crimes in your society. Some humans, in order to survive, stopped living honest lives and started to steal or even kill just to get money into their hands. Money in your reality represents evil and nothing else. If you count on how many children and adults left their physical bodies for being poor and not having enough money for food, you need to pay to stay healthy. This is another reason on why money needs to vanish from your world. Your human society has been kept in a low and slow advancement stage, not to let you progress enough into the 5th dimension or higher. Everything here was done with a purpose to keep you in the dark ages. Your first electric cars were invented in the 1830s, which were more safe and not toxic for your body compared to the electric cars you have now. Progress is made when a whole civilization benefits, and not just only a small group who takes wealth from humanity and poisons everyone with their primitive inventions. Dear ones, most of the advanced inventions were never allowed to be introduced to you. The Dark Ones don't want for humankind to be happy and live healthy lives. Divine is going to destroy this 3D matrix and the negative entities. It's just a matter of the time before the whole financial system is going to collapse, and attempts to move it from monetary currency to digital. It's not going to work in the long term. Nothing can't stop the destruction of darkness. You do not have words to illustrate many of the concepts and truths available to you as a divine, multi-dimensional being in human form. However, since this is the tool that is available and which carries our energy, we use it to invite you to expand again and again. When we say that you are beings of light, we realize that you have heard this concept many times, yet it might still sound a bit far out to you. It is, however, the truth. As we have expressed before, every cell, as well as your DNA, emits biophotons of light. Imagine that your very skin is like natural solar panels, and the energies and frequencies given by the sun, moon, and stars continually recharge your aliveness. The electromagnetic emissions from your cells can now be measured with your modern instrumentation. We realize that you experience yourself as this solid and dense physical form. That is what this experience is about. To recognize that you have a physical vehicle, yet you are a star being. You are the essence of light energy that happens to be vibrating at a low frequency, which gives you the sense of being solid. Your real state of existence is a being of light energy. Yet while you are focused on the physical aspect, you are always offering your personal energy signature to all you encounter. Remember, your personal energy signature is influenced by what you have experienced, what you have been taught, and what you have been led to believe, as well as by the state of your emotions. As you become aware that you are more than your physical form, consider that you might be a true member of the galactic family and a starseed being. When you begin to accept this as a real possibility and understand who you truly are, you begin to expand into your starseed presence. When you consciously, on purpose, begin to release any limited beliefs and patterns you have acquired. When you clear your emotional storage, when you stop repeating your non-supportive stories, you begin elevating yourself to the higher dimensions. As you begin to refine your energy signature, you vibrate at a higher and purer form of the light spectrum. You begin to own and express yourself as a being of bioluminosity, a being of light, a true starseed being.
I am Ashtar, the commander of the Galactic Light Forces, and I come to you today with love and encouragement regarding the significant wave of psychic interference many of you have been experiencing around early May of your time. Take heart, for what some of you perceive as psychic attacks on lightworkers is not a war at all. In truth, it is a sign of your spiritual maturity and the powerful anchoring of light that you have achieved. The disturbances you feel are not darkness triumphing over you. Rather, it is your growing light being recognized and responded to by the energies around you. Your radiance has become so bright that it cannot go unnoticed in the spiritual realms, and this attention is a testament to the progress you have made on your path. For perspective, consider how, when a room is dark, the dust in the air lies still and unseen. But the moment a shaft of sunlight enters, all the particles are suddenly illuminated and stirred by that light. The dust was always there, yet only the light's arrival revealed and agitated it. In the same way, your expanding radiance is uncovering and shaking loose the subtle energies around you that were previously stagnant or hidden. This is why we emphasize that it is not an attack by darkness at all, but rather the effect of your light making itself known. So do not fall into fear or adopt a mindset of battle. We in the higher realms do not see a crisis. We see evidence of how brilliantly you are shining. Indeed, it confirms that the light within you has grown so strong that all that is not of the light is being inevitably drawn out to be transformed. Many of you have noticed common symptoms accompanying this energetic interference. You may feel unexplained fatigue and waves of heavy emotion or anxiety arising especially in your lower chakra centers. Understand that these uncomfortable sensations are actually indicators of your vibrational brilliance. Like a bright flame draws moths at night, the light you emit naturally draws attention, and the fatigue or emotional density you experience is not a sign that you are failing. It is a reflection of how powerfully you shine. These very symptoms show that you are actively transmuting a great deal of collective density, proving the extent of your light's reach and impact. These sensations often concentrate in the lower chakras, the energy centers at the base of your spine and below your navel, because that is where much of humanity's survival fears and old emotional residue have been stored. Do not be alarmed by these signs. If your body feels exhausted, grant it the rest and nurturing it needs, for it is doing the sacred work of integrating huge influxes of light. If heavy emotions swell up, allow them to flow and release without judgment, understanding that you may be processing energies that are not even solely your own. Many of the feelings passing through you originated in the collective or from earlier chapters of your soul's journey, and they are coming up now precisely because your light is here to dissolve them. By permitting these energies to move through you, allowing them to be expressed in tears or felt fully, you are performing a great service, clearing not only your personal vessel, but also helping to uplift the collective field. Treat yourself with gentle love during this process, knowing that these phases will pass and will leave you shining even brighter than before. When faced with these dense energies or psychic interference, do not fall into the old pattern of resistance or battle. Do not resist or fight these energies. If you push against them in anger, fear, or frustration, you only create an energetic tug of war that amplifies their presence. Resistance creates feedback loops that keep you entangled with the very frequencies you wish to clear. Instead, stand in your mastery and transmute these energies by sending them consciously back into the light. Remember that all energy, even the most misguided or dark-seeming, originates from the light of Source and ultimately seeks to return to that light. In this process, you serve as compassionate shepherds, guiding these stray vibrations back home. See yourself as a conduit of divine alchemy. You welcome the dense energy into the field of your heart with neutrality and love, and then allow it to be transformed and released to the light. By doing so, you break the cycle and free both yourself and the energy. No healing ever comes from resisting. True healing comes from embracing and elevating everything into the light of the divine.